share a little bit about what mindfulness is, but more importantly, to practice mindfulness, because as you will see, mindfulness is all about practicing. And before starting with the presentation, if you can put in the chat, if you can write in the chat, if you are familiar with mindfulness. Just yes, no, so, whatever comment that you have in terms of your level of understanding about mindfulness. That would be very helpful for me. Of course, no, yes, so, yes. Okay, don't be shy, continue writing, so, okay. Good, so we have a good mix of people. Some people might be very familiar with mindfulness, some other would be completely new to mindfulness, and that's good too. So if we go to the next page, John, now that you are helping me with the presentation, and if we put it like in the full presentation mode, that would be great. Perfect, so let's start right now with a short practice. Because when we arrive to a place like a conference where we are right now, or where we are arriving to a meeting, or when we are arriving at home, our body is fully there, but our mind might not be there. It's either in the past or thinking about the future, but sometimes body and mind are not together. So what we are gonna do right now is just a short practice to fully arrive to this session in order to be fully present. So right where you are, find a relaxed position, a position that allows you to be comfortable, relaxed. If you want, you may close your eyes or leave them open, it's up to you. Whatever feels better for you at this time. And let's allow some time for the mind to find the body, sensing the presence of your body, your feet touching the ground, the touch points with the chair, the posture of your body. Just being aware about the fact that you are here. So at this time, the invitation is to release the past, including the most recent one, and also to release the future. And dwelling in the only place and time where life truly happens, the here and the now. There's no place to go. There's nothing else to do. You have arrived. You are at home now. So thank you very much. That was just a short practice to fully arrive to the present moment and display that level of presence through our time together in this community that we are building together by cultivating this human quality of being fully present moment by moment. So if we go to the next page, why are we here? Of course, you receive an invitation to be here, but why? Because if we go to the next page, we see that we live in a world that is volatile. Everything is changing every single second. It's uncertain. We don't know what the future is going to give us. We don't know what lies ahead. It's complex because this world has a lot of different phases, different situations that we need to face on a daily basis. And it's ambiguous because it's not black or white, good or bad. There are a lot of different shapes and different ways to relate with life. So that's the world that we live in. And when we live in a world like that, what happens is that our presence is fragmented. Our mind tends to wander a lot. If we go to the next page, you will see that 47% of the time, our mind is wandering, meaning that almost half of the time, we are not fully present on what we are doing. So just grasp that concept. That means that we are missing 50% of our life. Because if we are not present, the mind is in the past or in the future, but is not in the present. So we are missing our lives. So the invitation that mindfulness gives us is to be fully present. That's what mindfulness is all about. So if we go to the next page, is when we are not present, we say that we live in autopilot, meaning like we are reacting all the time because either the mind is in the past or is in the future. And as a consequence, I react, I act based on my judgments, I behave based on old patterns, and I don't have a space to identify what would be the better or the best response that I might have given the current situation. So when we are in autopilot, our mind is wandering, and a mind that wanders is an unhappy mind. So if we move to the next page, you will see that when our mind wanders and we are unhappy, there are three key emotions that we tend to experience under this state of mind. We are either stressed, we face a lot of stress, we could also feel a lot of fear, and of course, anxiety. And given the pandemic situation, I think like these three emotions are pretty common. And it's okay to feel those emotions because those emotions are part of the human experience. But what we should be very mindful about is that those emotions do not become our way of being, meaning like all the time we are either stressed, fearful, or full of anxiety. Because when that happens, then those emotions are the ones taking and making the decisions for you. And chances are that those decisions are not going to be good. So it is okay to feel those emotions, but we need to be very careful about those becoming like our way of being. So if that is the situation, then what can we do in order to move away from this autopilot and from these emotions? So what we can do is what we have in the next page, which is the next one, mindfulness. And mindfulness has a lot of definitions. If you Google mindfulness, you would find so much information, so many definitions. But the definition that I like to use, it is a very simple definition, but a powerful one, which is the one that appears on the next page. And I say that mindfulness is being fully present, moment by moment, with an attitude of acceptance and kindness. That acceptance and that kindness is very important because it's not enough just to be aware about what we are experiencing, but by accepting what we are experiencing, we can eliminate the judgment. And when we do not judge the situation and we have full acceptance, we can engage in a different way with life itself. I'm not saying that we need to have a passive type of approach towards life. If there's something that we can do in order to solve the situation, we take action and we solve the situation. But if there's nothing that I can do, then I accept the situation as it is. And when we have full acceptance, and when I relate with myself, with other people, and with life, with an attitude of acceptance and kindness, then we start experiencing, I would say, two core benefits of the mindfulness practice, which are mental clarity and emotional balance. And those benefits are in the next page. When I say mental clarity and emotional balance, I refer to the following. Mental clarity, to see the reality as it is, just as it is. with full acceptance, not as I would like the reality to be, or I hope it to be, or I expect it to be, just as it is. And when we have clear mind, we can make better decisions because we have mental clarity, which is key in order to make effective and efficient decisions. Sometimes we get confused about decisions and we think like the intensity of our life depends on the speed of the decision-making process. But the reality is the opposite. The intensity of your life depends on the quality of the decisions that you make. And in order to make good decisions, you need to be present and you need to have mental clarity. So that is the first core benefit of the mindfulness practice. The second core benefit of the mindfulness practice is emotional balance, which means, I would say, two key things. The first one is to be fully aware about your emotional landscape, what emotions you are experiencing moment by moment, and then using that information about the emotions that you are experiencing in order to guide the way that you are making decisions. Because emotions are always present in the decision-making process. But if you are suppressing the emotion, denying the emotion, or avoiding the emotion, then that generates stress because you are not recognizing that emotion that is there. So being aware about our emotional landscape and being able to manage those emotions is a good practice in order to enhance your well-being. So those are the core benefits of the mindfulness practice: mental clarity and emotional balance. So if we move to the next page, then this is a quote from Viktor Frankl that is very powerful because it says, between the stimulus and the response, there's a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So there are three core tenets that are implied in this short quote. The first, personal responsibility, because we are the ones responsible for making a decision on how we are going to respond to the different situations that we face in our daily life. So that is one important element to always consider. The second one is the fact that every time that we are triggered or that we are having an interaction, before responding, we have a space. But if we are very stressed, if we are very anxious, and if we are very experiencing a lot of fear, then that space might be too narrow, almost inexistent. And when the space is too narrow, then you are reacting in autopilot rather than responding. The mindfulness practice helps us to make that space bigger so you can decide what is the best way to respond to that situation and select the response that helps you to grow as an individual, as a human being. So that's why I always include this quote, because it's too powerful in terms of personal responsibility, in terms of not reactivity, and in terms of personal growth. But if we want to accomplish this, then what happens is, when it's included in the next page, John, that the golden standard or the final outcome of being mindful is threefold. Inner peace, because when you are not fighting against what you are facing, when you are not judging what you are facing, and when you are fully accepting the reality as it is, you start experiencing inner peace. Then by experiencing inner peace, you also start experiencing inner joy. And then you start experiencing compassion. Compassion, which is very powerful because it's the quality that talks about two elements: the ability to understand the emotions and the suffering of the people around you, and the wish to solve the suffering of those people. So it's the courage of taking action. So compassion is not being soft. Compassion actually requires a lot of courage, and mindfulness helps us to be more compassionate. But if this is the benefits and the landscape about being mindful, how can we develop that mental and human capacity of being fully present moment by moment? There is one technique that is a proven technique in order to develop our mindfulness skills. And that technique is meditation, which appears in the next page. Let's move to the next one. Meditation. And what meditation is, because there are a lot of ideas and misconceptions about what meditation is. But let's start describing what meditation is not. So if we go to the next page, meditation is not about stopping our thoughts, because we have this idea that when we meditate is not having thinking process, have a 100% clear mind, like a white canvas, but that is not the reality. And we are going to explore exactly what the reality is. The other misconception is that meditation is about avoiding or escaping our daily life or the reality that we are facing, but that is not true either. And the third major misconception is that when we meditate, or meditation itself is a selfish activity. So those are the major misconceptions about meditation. But what meditation truly is, if we go to the next 2 pages, is the opposite. Meditation is about observing our thoughts, because thoughts are going to be always present, but the meditation practice helps you to observe, contemplate those thoughts. Meditation is about accepting the reality just as it is, in terms of what thoughts are going on, what emotions are present, what body sensations are present, and what's happening around me. So it's an inner look, but it's also an outer look. And by having this combination of inner, outer, we can make a conscious decision on how to respond to the reality that we are facing. So by connecting with ourselves in a better way, by understanding our thoughts, our emotions, our body sensations, and our actions, we can relate better to other people. So mindfulness is about connection, connecting with yourself, with others, and with life in general. And I truly believe that the quality of the life depends on the quality of our connections, of our relationships. So mindfulness helps us to have a better relationship with ourselves, with others, and with life in general. So that's what meditation is. But we can say also that meditation is, and if we go to the next page, is mental training. In a nutshell, meditation is mental training because it's a training practice that allows us to become familiar with certain mental processes. So what are the mental processes that we train in the mindfulness meditation practice? There are 2 processes that we try to strengthen through the meditation process: attention and meta-attention. And I'm going to cover those later on the presentation. But actually, there's a lot of scientific studies that have proven the benefits of the meditation practice. And when you review all these scientific studies, you can summarize the benefits in 3 major areas. The first one is better attention management, the ability to maintain your attention for a longer period of time. The second is increased emotional regulation, by being aware about your emotions, but also managing those emotions in a better way. And a higher self of awareness, because when you are self-aware, you have a deeper understanding on who you are. So those are the 3 benefits, key benefits that are scientifically proven related to the meditation process. So if we move to the next page, John. But what is the meditation process? What is the meditation code? Learning something is learning its code. So what I'm going to share right now is the meditation code of the mindfulness meditation practice. And by learning this code, you would be able to meditate by yourself without the need of anyone. Of course, you can always call a mindfulness teacher or use a meditation app, but this code would allow you to fully understand how the meditation process works. And as you will see, the meditation code is quite simple. It starts by defining an intention of doing the practice. Maybe you want to reduce stress, and that's your intention. Or maybe you want to be more present, and that's your intention. Or maybe you want to improve your well-being. So whatever your intention is, just connect with that intention. Once you connect with that intention, then what we do is to direct our attention to the sensations of the breathing process. Just in a kind way, you direct your attention to the breath itself. And when you start maintaining your attention on your breath, you might experience concentration, a sense of calm, a sense of flow. But guess what? Sooner or later, and it's going to be rather sooner than later, a distraction is going to come your way, either through a thought, through a body sensation, through an emotion. A distraction is going to arrive, but that's okay. Actually, distractions are welcome in the meditation process, because when you become aware about the fact that you are distracted, then in a gentle way, you redirect your attention to the breath. And that helps you to develop your attentional muscle. It's like going to the gym. If you want to strengthen your muscles, you need to do reps with the weights. The same happens with the mind. If you want to train your mind to be more present, distractions are welcome, because you focus your attention on the breath, a distraction comes, you realize that you are distracted, and you pull back your attention in a gentle way to your breath. That movement, breath, distraction, breath, distraction, breath, distraction, helps you to develop your presence, your focus, your concentration. So once again, because this is very important, distractions are welcome in the meditation process. So that is the meditation process. It's quite simple. That is the foundational meditation practice that we teach in mindfulness. It's not the only one, but this is a foundational practice. And now that I have talked about mindfulness and the theory behind mindfulness, actually, let's practice mindfulness, because mindfulness is about practice. It's not about theory. You need to embody the presence. You need to embody this capacity to be fully present moment by moment with acceptance and kindness. So let's practice together this meditation process, okay? So John, can you hear me okay? Just give me 2 thumbs up. Okay, perfect. So let's begin this practice. And actually, meditation can be done either in a seated position, you can meditate standing up, you can meditate walking, or you can meditate laying down. But for the purpose of this meditation practice, my invitation to you is that you meditate in a seated position. So let's begin with this meditation practice by finding a seated position that allows you to be relaxed and alert at the same time. Relaxed because we want to enjoy this meditation practice, but alert because we want to cultivate our presence, our attention. So find that meditation posture that is a balance between relaxation and presence. Keep your back straight, but not tense. Relax the shoulders. Place your hands on the laps. And if you want, you may close your eyes. or leave them open. If you leave them open, just gaze down to avoid visual distractions. So now that you have found your meditation posture, let's begin this mindfulness meditation practice by taking some time to connect with your intention of doing this practice today. Why do you want to practice? It might be that you want to develop your presence, or it might be that you want to reduce and manage the stress in a better way. Or you just might want to try what meditation is all about. That's fine too. Any intention is valid to engage in a meditation practice. So connect with your intention. Now, in a gentle way, with openness, with curiosity, direct your attention to the sensations of your breath. Identify that part of your body where you experience your breath more clearly. It could be the sensations of the air going through the nostrils, or a slight movement in the chest, in the belly, or the sensation of your whole body breathing now. So wherever you experience your breath more clearly, rest your attention there. We're going to use that part of your body as the anchor of your attention during this practice. Breathing in. I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out. I know that I'm breathing out. There's no need to change the way that you are breathing or to think about the breath itself, but rather just paying attention to your breath. Follow a full cycle of your breath, identifying the moment the breathing begins, the moment it ends, the pause before the breath out begins, the moment the breath out ends, and the pause before the next breathing begins. Just being with your breath. Thoughts coming, thoughts going. There's no need to change them or reject them. Just be aware that there's a thought there and return your attention to the breath. If you want, you may count every breathing cycle at the end of the exhalation. 1, 2, till you arrive to 10. And if you get distracted, you start all over again. That's fine. No need to worry. Distractions are part of the process. Remember that. Where is your mind? If your mind is not in your breath, in a kind way, return your attention to the breath. There's no need to judge yourself or judge the experience. Just be open to the experience as it is in this very moment. Focusing your attention on the breath. If for any reason you are experiencing a strong body sensation that takes your attention away from your breath, that's okay. You can use that body sensation as the anchor of your attention rather than the breath itself. So use that body sensation as the anchor of your attention, contemplating the sensation, being aware that is part of the current experience. No need to change it or to fix it. There's no need to do anything. Just be with that body sensation as it is right now. Now we are going to open a little bit more this capacity of awareness to include any thoughts that might be present at this time, observing those thoughts as they are, like you observe a cloud in the sky, being aware that there are thoughts in your mind, and that's the nature of the mind. So if you want, you can assign a mental note to the thought or thoughts that you're having, like planning, worrying, daydreaming, whatever the nature of the thought is, just assign a mental note and let it be. Now let's bring your awareness to any emotion or emotions that might be present at this time. A body sensation is the expression of an emotion. So identify what body sensations you might be experiencing at this time that are linked to an emotion. It might be a pleasant sensation, an unpleasant sensation, or a neutral sensation. So whatever the nature of the emotion is, don't judge it, don't want to change that, just observe. That's it. That's it. And finally, open your awareness to feel your whole body here and now, sat on the chair, any body sensation that might be available to you, your feet touching the ground, your hands on your lap, or maybe touching each other, the presence of your full body right here and right now. And bring your attention back to your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. I'm about to ring a bell. And the invitation is to open your eyes when the ring or the sound of the bell is not longer available to you. So whenever you are ready, you may open your eyes and bring your attention back to this virtual space that we are sharing in community. And we are going to open right now the mics just to see if there's any question, any comment, any experience that you might want to share in regards to this short mindfulness meditation practice that we just did. Any question is a good question. Any comment is a good comment. Any sharing is a good sharing. By sharing, we learn from each other. So don't be shy and share what is in your mind, what is in your heart. And if you don't want to talk, you might want to write something in the chat so I can read it and then maybe provide some additional comments to that.
Be shy, guys. This is the moment. Thank you, Rafael. This was great. We have someone. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Katrina, Broward College. Thank you for that. I just wanted to point out the 47% distractions. I think that's my life as a parent and as a full-time employee at Broward College. So thank you. I needed this pause and to slow down and balance this work, remote, and parent, school, home life. So much appreciated. And I will try to practice this more.
Thank you very much for your comment. Yeah, and that's a good insight, right? Because we believe like the experience that we are going through, it's so unique to us. But the reality is that we have and we share common humanity, right? And distractions are part of our life, but we don't have to be ashamed about those distractions. We just need to be aware about the fact that our mind wanders. And if we feel inclined to take action to be more present, then mindfulness is a way to develop that capacity. It's not the only one, but it's a good practice based on my experience. And you mentioned something else that I would like to deep dive a little bit, which is the stressful situations that we are going right now, because our context changed completely in the last 2 months and a half, 3 months, right? And we are facing a new reality and we are learning through this process. And it's very stressful to be at home, being responsible for our kids in case that we are parents, being responsible for delivering in our job, taking care of ourselves, taking care of our family. So there's a lot of things going on, and that generates a lot of stress. And when we are under a lot of stress, we tend to think like we do not deserve to take a pause in order to cultivate certain mental qualities that can help us, not only to increase the quality of our life, but also increase the quality of the life of our family and our friends. Because if we are in a good mental state, that is going to be reflected in our relationships. So taking a pause during these times, I think is a good practice in order to enjoy better quality of life. Thank you very much, Catherine, for your comment. Anyone else?
We have a comment on the chat, and this is just more than a comment, it's a permission from you, Rafael. We could share the presentation with participants.
Yes, indeed. So what we are going to do is the following. I'm going to share, actually, John already has the presentation, so he has full permission on my side to share this presentation with all the attendees, with all of you. But in addition to that, I will be sharing with John a free mindfulness guideline or guide or toolkit that I have put together that includes a set of short mindfulness meditation practices, no more than 4 to 5 minutes, along with some other integrated practices that you can incorporate as you go through your daily activities. So that's something that you can always refer to or get back to in order to continue practicing and engaging in a mindfulness practice. Okay?
Yeah, that's awesome. Don't be shy, share your thoughts. We still have a couple of minutes before we have to wrap up.
Okay. So if there are no more thoughts, let me share what I call a micro practice, right? Because sometimes we need to gain this mental clarity and we need to go out from autopilot in order to be more present. And it's almost impossible to say in the heat of the moment, okay, I'm gonna go away and meditate for 5-10 minutes in order to regain my balance. So in order to address a situation like that, there's one micro practice, as I call it, or integrated mindfulness practice that I'm gonna share with you right now that you can do anytime, anywhere, okay? And this practice is called 3 mindful breaths. So in the way that it works is as follows. First, I'm going to explain and then we're gonna do it together. In the first breath, you pay attention to the breath itself. Just the inhale, the exhale, that's it, first breath. On the second breath, you relax your body. And on the third breath, you ask internally, what is most important now? And just listen what emerged from your inner self. So first breath, pay attention to the breath. Second breath, relax the body. Third breath, what is most important now? Okay, so let's do this micro practice together. So let's start. I'm gonna ring the bell and that's the starting point, okay? Being aware of the breath. Second breath, relax the body. Third breath, what is most important now? Short, simple, and that's something that you can use whenever you feel the need to regain your mental clarity and your emotional balance. So maybe before having a conversation with someone, or before starting a new project, or just going before to do an important activity for you, you define when you need it. But just 3 breaths, gain mental clarity, emotional balance, and you don't need to announce that you are doing a practice, right? You can do it even in front of someone. So that is a micro practice, and that's something that is going to be included in this mindfulness toolkit that I'm going to be sharing with John, and John will be sharing with each of you who attended this mindfulness session. So in a nutshell, mindfulness is a mental and human capacity. And as any other human capacity, we can develop and strengthen our ability to be fully present moment by moment with an attitude of acceptance and kindness. And there's one tool that we can use in order to develop our mindfulness skills, and that tool is meditation. We review the process of meditation, but meditation can also be supported by integrated mindfulness practice as the 3 breath practices that we just shared. So mindfulness is a way of being, it's a lifestyle, it's not a mind hack. Actually, you need to embrace mindfulness as part of who you are and requires practice. I would be lying to you if I say that just by attending a full day mindfulness program or a meditation session, then you're going to become mindful the rest of your life. That would be not correct, right? Because mindfulness is a practice, and we need to embrace that practice if we are inclined to do so. So that would be like the summary.